Hi. Last week I shared some tips on LinkedIn in a video on systems integration. I found video was a really quick way of sharing some of my knowledge. So this week I'm going to give you my top 5 tips on software selection. My first tip is to first of all document what you need from the software. What's the key functionality? What's important for you? And I advise that you would include a flow chart of how that software will fit into your operation. And also think of what will be your key measurable goals for when you implement that software. These will then form the document that you can issue to possible potential suppliers. Doesn't need to be a 1,000-page tender document, but you do need to make sure it includes what's important to you, how it will fit into your operation, and what would success look like. And it's important for that measurable goals because that's then being clear right from the start what success looks like to your future suppliers. My second tip then is to calculate right from the start, before you've approached anybody, what you think the benefits would be from that software. So are we going to get more customers, so increase our revenue with something new? Are we going to be more efficient, so we'll save some time? Are we going to be more accurate, so we don't have any returns? You should be able to put a financial benefit to some of these things, and that would give you your return. It gives you an idea then of what the kind of scale of investment will be acceptable to get that return. So you will know right from the start, before you're going out to software suppliers, whether you can afford a Ferrari or a Mini. The next one is then to go and research your software suppliers and only engage fully in the full process with 5 or 6 suppliers. Lots of people will be able to do the software that you want. The more suppliers you involve, the longer that process will be. And sometimes we find that these software selection processes, the money we spend and the time we spend on them can be greater than the benefit you'll ever get back from the software. So go away and only actually do full engagement with 5 or 6 suppliers. Tip 4 is to have a structured competitive selection process. So we're going to send out the document that's been created from my tip 1. As part of that process, you're going to encourage them to confirm whether they can do the functionality that you want, or if not, have they got a better way of doing it? But make sure it has a defined time limit and don't extend that time limit. Again, you can end up spending more time on a software selection process and more money than you'll ever get back from the software that you implement. And my 5th tip is actually that when you are selecting, take into account culture as well as functionality. It's really important that if you're going to select some software, you're likely to be working with that company ongoing for several years. And actually, if your culture's fit, if your ethos fits, you're going to work better together and you will end up with a much better product delivered. So don't just focus on who can give you the highest level of functionality. Don't focus on who is the cheapest or what the price is. Take all of those things into consideration. But actually, you'll find that culture will be the thing that could make much more of a difference than getting an extra 1 or 2% of functionality. So they're my top 5 tips. There's lots of other things to do with software selection, but they're the 5 key things I think you need to take into account. Hope you found those useful. Of course, if you do want any assistance, I help with this kind of process for customers. Sometimes it's just helping them create that key functionality. They'll go off and do the rest of the process themselves, right the way through to we can offer a fully managed software selection process. Thank you for your time. Bye.